Greetings everyone, welcome to Nintendo Village. My name's Phil, thanks for joining us. In this video, I'm going to run through my personal top 10 favourite games that came out on Switch in 2020. I should reiterate that this isn't an attempt at an objective list, these are just my 10 favourite games, so there might be some big games missing from this list, but there might also be a few small ones that might have passed you by that you might want to go and check out. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you do, consider subscribing when you get to the end. Without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, in at number 10 is Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. Now, truth be told, I wasn't actually all that enamoured with the gameplay of this one. It largely felt like a mindless festival of button mashing to me. But the saving grace was the story, which once it got going, kept me playing regardless. As someone who's always loved the lore and history of the Zelda series, Age of Calamity scratched an itch that Breath of the Wild, with its more exploration-driven setup, had failed to do. Hopefully this bodes well for the sequel, whenever it arrives, and we'll get a much more narrative-driven experience, but for now, this was an enjoyable tale about the events of the Great Calamity. The number 9 post goes to 2 Point Hospital. Theme Hospital was one of my absolute favourite games growing up as a kid, and I was so excited for this game when it was first announced. Through an impressive feat of self-restraint, I managed to resist picking up the PC version in the hope that it would come to Switch, and it finally did back in February. And it was well worth the wait. The UI and controls had been brilliantly tailored to console, and I was soon flicking through menus and building treatment rooms without even thinking about it. Plus, all of that excellent, horrendous humour that I loved from its spiritual predecessor was back in spades. Great fun, this one. Number 8 is Lonely Mountains Downhill, and it's one I found weirdly addictive. You've basically just got to get from the top of a mountain down to the bottom without wiping out. But the multiple paths, hidden shortcuts and additional challenges made it a game I kept coming back to. It nails that just one more run feeling, and attempting the same run over and over again in an attempt to shave a few seconds off your best time is incredibly satisfying. Another great indie game that I think got unfairly overlooked this year is Raji: An Ancient Epic. It's an almost Prince of Persia-esque action-adventure game, and the first one from Indian studio Nodding Heads Games. It's a gorgeous looking game with a fantastic sense of scale, and the narrative is overflowing with references and frankly just out and out educational aspects of ancient Indian and Hindu mythology. I thoroughly enjoyed learning about the stories of the gods with whom I crossed paths, and that was all supplemented by an excellent combat system. Tough but rewarding in equal measures, laying waste to demons as Raji was as fluent as it was fun, and without giving too much away, the ending hinted a sequel that I will be eagerly looking out for. Number 6 is Super Mario 3D All-Stars, although I should stipulate that I haven't actually gotten around to Super Mario Galaxy yet. I know, sorry, bear with me on that one. But that said, I was actually blown away by how well Super Mario 64 holds up 24 years since it first revolutionised the industry. Sure, the camera's a pain in the backside, and it's a shame it didn't get the same widescreen treatment as the other two games in the collection, but that level design is timeless. I hungrily rounded up all 120 stars and enjoyed it every bit as much as I did as a 10-year-old. Likewise, it was great to revisit Super Mario Sunshine after all these years. I must have mowed our lawn about 4 times a week back in 2002 to save up enough pocket money to buy it, and it's always held a special place in my heart. It's definitely incredibly janky and frustrating when it wants to be, but thanks to the flood, it's still one of the most unique and inventive platformers in Mario's canon. Elsewhere on the Mario front, Paper Mario The Origami King kicks off my top 5 Switch games this year, and it's one I'd recommend to any Switch owner. It's jam-packed with all that Paper Mario charm that fans of the series absolutely love. It'll make you laugh, it'll make you cry, but the world and the story contained within Origami King is excellent. The battle system is perhaps the only black mark against the game. Whilst it's certainly unique and inventive, it ends up just getting in the way of all of the fun contained elsewhere in the game. At some point you're able to defeat enemies in the field without going into the concentric circle turn-based battle system, and honestly, I wish they'd sacked off all of the RPG elements and just made it an action-adventure game. Still though, this was easily the best Paper Mario game since Thousand Year Door, and I'd urge you to play it even if it is ever so slightly flawed. There's no flaws in Pikmin 3 Deluxe though, and it broke my heart to learn that its opening weekend sales weren't as high as the Wii U original here in the UK. I'm seriously hoping that that's simply down to the fact that those figures didn't incorporate digital sales and more people picked it up on the eShop due to lockdown restrictions and so on. I can't stress enough how underrated the Pikmin series is. It's one of my favourite Nintendo franchises period, and Pikmin 3 is arguably the best of the bunch. The puzzles that need to be solved by strategically divvying up your squad into 2 or 3 groups are wonderfully designed, and although you can blast through the story fairly quickly, the core gameplay is so satisfying I guarantee you'll be compelled to return to find every last piece of fruit you can. Seriously, there's a demo on the eShop. If you haven't checked it out already, I really urge you to do so. You won't regret it. To be honest, any of my top 3 games on this list could change places depending on how I'm feeling, but for the purposes of this video, the bronze medal goes to Streets of Rage 4. This was such a sublime update, refresh and modernising release in the series that it saddens me that it's barely been mentioned at all in the end of year roundups we're seeing. It absolutely nailed the gameplay and feel of the originals, whilst bringing it bang up to date with online co-op play and leaderboards, new music and a gorgeous new look. There's plenty to unlock too, from characters to artwork, and the teams at Dotemu, Guard Crush and Lizard Cube deserve all the praise in the world for making, frankly, one of the best beat-em-ups ever if you ask me. Ori and the Blind Forest was one of my favourite games last year, and I was so chuffed the follow-up made it to Switch too. Ori and the Will of the Wisps takes the superb movement, excellent mechanics and gorgeous aesthetic of its predecessor and improves on it in every department. There's a host of new characters, a new story that tugs at your heartstrings even more than the first game, and an expansion of Ori's abilities that make traversing this gorgeous world an absolute delight from start to finish. Frankly, Will of the Wisps has cemented the Ori series as one of my all-time favourites in gaming. Before we get to my number 1 pick, which you've probably worked out what it is already, I just want to take a quick second and thank you all for your support this year. I had the goal of reaching 1,000 subscribers in 2020 and we're currently sitting more than double that. So honestly, thank you so much for that. Anyway, here's Animal Crossing. Yup, it's kind of difficult to put any other game at the top of my 2020 list considering the literally hundreds of hours I've poured into this game. As well as being a cultural touchpoint for much of the spring and summer, Animal Crossing New Horizons is also a wonderful evolution of the series as a whole. It seemed like the developers understood what people were doing with New Leaf on the 3DS, the way they were customising their towns, curating their villages and organising their furniture, that they went ahead and built all of that right into this new game itself, even going so far as to give you control over your rivers and mountains. I still dip in and check on my town every time a new month rolls around or there's an update, determined to pack out my museum and breed all those hybrid flowers I'm determined to line my public gardens with. It's the best Animal Crossing game there is, has been a massive respite for people in tough times and frankly, will forever be the game most closely associated with this year, and that's why it tops my list. Thanks very much for watching everyone. Let me know your top 10 Switch games from 2020 down in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, we've got tons of other cool stuff here on Nintendo Village. Go and check some of those out. And if you enjoy them, do consider subscribing to the channel as well to stay up to date with all of our weekly uploads. I guess there's nothing less for me to say, but I hope you have a wonderful Christmas and a happy new year, and I shall see you all in 2021. Thanks again for watching. See you next time.